Okay, by now we should be done with our writer's notebook. Make sure you get those writer's notebooks back in the bin at some point if you haven't already. And let's get some practice with our EQ collection. We've gotten the assignment now. It's not going to be due for several weeks now, but I want you to kind of imagine that you're at a point where you've generated a lot of writing around that essential question. You've come up with some ideas, some responses to the question, some different types of writing that you feel address that question. Some of that writing is going to be awesome. Some of it's going to be okay. Some of it's going to be downright bad, and maybe it's something you could rework and revisit, but maybe it's something that just doesn't belong in the collection at all. We'll get class time to work on some of this writing. We'll give you, of course, more time throughout this unit to keep thinking about what you'd like to write and to actually get that writing done. And then when it's all said and done, you're going to need to look at what you've created and decide, okay, what's my collection going to be? What's it going to look like? And what am I going to include in it? So in order to practice this, I'm going to give you a packet of writing here today. You and your color group are going to take a look at this packet full of several pieces of writing that are all based on one question. And that question is, what does it mean to be a seventh grader? We had students do this a few years ago, and you'll take a look at what they wrote. You don't have to read every last word, but take a glance at the different pieces. You'll see they're marked with different letters to kind of put them together. And I want you to, as a group, to decide, okay, what is this collection going to look like around what does it mean to be a seventh grader, or what is it like to be a seventh grader? You should think about, what are you going to eliminate? What things don't belong in this collection? Maybe that's the bad writing. Maybe it's the things that don't quite respond to the question. Maybe it's another reason that you'd like to just say this isn't going to make the final cut. How would you like to organize that? If this was a collection, what would be the first thing people should see? What would be the last thing? Or maybe there's a different sort of organization you'd like to have. Maybe there's different ways that you could categorize some of these pieces of writing. Maybe there's a sequence. Maybe there's other ideas you have for presenting this in a collection. You're not going to do that, but I want you just to experiment with thinking about that today. So how will you decide on an order? How would you present this collection? Would it be something digital? Would it be something that would be more artistic and creative? What would be a good way to present these pieces of writing? Are there any missing items? Are there things that maybe you didn't see that you felt belonged in this collection that you didn't see written? What would you write if you were to write around this question? What is it like to be a seventh grader? Think about why you're eliminating things and what you're eliminating. And then think about that question. Does the overall selections that you've found in this packet really answer that question or address this question? What is it like to be a seventh grader? Or what does it mean to be a seventh grader? Think about that in the next 15 minutes or so. Divvy up some of the work, divvy up some of these writing assignments, and just get a little practice with what you're eventually going to be doing with your own writing. All right, hopefully that makes some sense. We'll give you about 15 minutes to complete some of that.